My dad's career continued to blossom. The Kenny Everett show moved to BBC1 on Thursday nights after Top of the Pops. The nation was in love with cuddly Ken, and our life was becoming quite glamorous. Kenny was just about the most famous man in the country. Many listeners will remember, but for younger listeners who don't, Kenny Everett was a sensation. It's difficult to think of the equivalent today. His show is being watched by more people than watch The X Factor. He was hysterically funny and lovable. Kenny and my dad clicked creatively, but Kenny and my mum clicked in every other way. My mum, Coke, became quite the fag hag. They became the best of friends. In fact, I remember my mum together with Kenny more than I remember my mum together with my dad. The weekly shop is probably the least glamorous part of life. Not for my mum, the nation's favourite funny man, Kenny Everett, would join her in Waitrose Temple Fortune. Kenny in his beige bomber jacket with fluffy collar, and my mum in her dungarees, would pick up a bottle of champagne each from aisle 12, alcohol and beverages, then return to aisle 1, fruit and vegetables, pop open their bottles of bubbly, and giggle their way round the supermarket. Kenny was such a megastar he could do as he pleased. The Waitrose staff loved it. Crowds of onlookers would gather outside as word spread on the normally sleepy suburban high street. Kenny would be cracking jokes about detergents and biscuits between signing autographs and swigging Bollinger, while my mum would be laughing hysterically, sometimes from inside the trolley. After the shopping was done, "Come on, Coke, I'm ravenous," it would be off to La Sorpresa in Hampstead for lunch, where the Italian waiters welcomed them with open arms. "Mr. Kenny, Miss Coca-Cola, hello, come have seat, favourite table." In they would stumble. Kenny was in the closet at the time, so everyone thought they were a couple. My mum would often be referred to as Mystery Blonde in the tabloids. There was so much goodwill towards Kenny, he once knocked over a cyclist in his BMW, who proceeded to ask him for an autograph, that lunch was usually on the house. Either they would frame the cheque or just refuse payment. Once Kenny didn't have a pen and wrote the cheque using toothpaste they'd just bought from Waitrose. "You're so funny, Mr. Kenny." He wouldn't just eat for free, but also take whatever he fancied from the restaurant. "Do you like this vase, Coke?" "I love it," giggled my mother. "I quite like that ashtray too." They would leave the restaurant, with most of the tableware and once a lamp, with the full blessing of the Italian owner, who would be laughing and applauding his celebrity guest as Kenny and my mum walked out with nearly enough furnishings to open their own Italian restaurant. After lunch, they would pick up Lucy and me from school. You can only imagine the looks on the other conservative parents' faces when my mum walked through the school gates in fits of laughter on Kenny Everett's arm. As the school children came out, Kenny would guess their future professions: accountant, wrestler, osteopath, dictator. The kids themselves went nuts with excitement when the future accountant, wrestler, osteopath and dictator saw Kenny. It was bedlam. The day after the first time Kenny collected me from school, my popularity rocketed. "Is Kenny your dad? Is Kenny Everett your dad? Is Kenny Everett your dad?" I must have been asked 100 times by everyone from my friends to the teachers, dinner ladies, and coolest of all, the big boys. This was a crunch moment for me. I'd gone from pea-dropping freak to potentially the most popular boy in school, and it seemed to hinge on my response. "Is Kenny Everett your dad?" I paused, thinking of my real dad, who I loved, was my hero. "Yes, Kenny Everett is my dad," I said. I was the most popular kid in school. My popularity lasted a term and a half, until the sports day father's race. I don't think there has been as much excitement surrounding a 100-metre dash since Jesse Owens claimed gold in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. I was terrified about my lie being revealed. My dad looks nothing like Kenny Everett. On the morning of sports day, I tried to convince my father not to attend, but he was breathing hot, coffee, cigarette-y morning breath into my face at the time, which I think muffled my request. The crowd was enormous, every pupil and parent focusing on the starting line. Other events occurring elsewhere on the sports field were completely ignored, as child competitors looked confused as to why their parents hadn't shown up to cheer them on. "Where is he? Where is he?" murmured sections of the crowd. Some parents had dressed up as their favourite Kenny Everett show characters. I saw 3 Sid Snots at a Cupid stunt. I couldn't bear to watch. When my dad was introduced, there was a gasp from the crowd. Not before or since has an athletics crowd been so disappointed. Ben Johnson's 1988 cheating doesn't come close. The Cupid stunt ripped off his wig and stormed off to his car, still in his fake tits. "Kenny Everett's not your dad! Kenny Everett's not your dad, you're a liar! You're a liar! McIntyre's a liar! Said everyone, from my friends and the teachers to the dinner ladies, and worst of all, the big boys. I was the least popular kid in school. Oh, and I should also mention my dad came last in the race, and in the wheelbarrow race I fell and landed headfirst on a fake egg from the earlier egg and spoon race, which gouged my eye. All in all, a terrible day.